Yes, the second way is to store into a database and use a dashboard, to visualize it. But all those stuff are complicated processes because you need to write more codes. The idea here is just to give you a basic understanding of what you're supposed to do. And I'm sure you understand what we're supposed to do. So what I should, I think, 1 minute, what I showed, what I was trying to show. Okay, I'll share my screen quickly just to make it simple. What I was trying to sorry, I'm not. So what I shared with Gucci was something like this, more like a simple visualization. At the end of the day, what the geologist wants to see is just they want to see the depth range, and the logs. So as they scroll, they want to be seeing the logs and the depth. So for every depth, they want to see it. So normally, the best way to view this stuff would be like on a UI. The data is stored in database, what happens is they could search within certain depth and they could actually view the logs stacked on top of another. So what I did there was just, write a simple program. So there are two types of search you could do in Python, just the first search can be, you know the depth you're looking for. Pretty much you index based on the depth you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for this particular depth. So what happens is it goes to the index of that depth and search for the depth from this depth to this depth. So it's going to go there and bring out all the exact depth of values. So 3935 is going to search all the values and it's going to find them for you. The second way you could actually start, which is the most effective way, would be this. Sorry, I need to get this off. Would be this. You have a particular depth range values. What happens is, what am I doing here? What was I trying to do? If I can remember. Okay, so what's going to happen here is, I think, the minimum depth range 1 and depth range 2. So the simplest way to just view this is you could actually put the depth you want. So what happens, you're telling to search from depth 3900 to 450. If it doesn't have 3900, it's going to go to the one that it has, which is 3931. And it's going to tell you, okay, from 3931, this is where the first log. The second log would be from 3932 to 39. So till it gets to, the closest depth of 4050. So you see how it looks. The idea is basically just to see how the logs are basically stacked on top of each other. Now, and we already know, I explained in the class before why we needed this information, why we needed to see logs, to see core logs. They just help us understand, the type of rock or the nature of rock type within the subsurface. And we could actually attach that information to different types of reservoir data, just to get an understanding of what happened to the subsurface. But it's just a simple what's it called? Stacking. What's it called? Log stacking. Now, how I achieve this is this. You could remember that you processed some data. If you notice, you have a data you processed already. So you have something like this already. Your data is stored in what's it called? In an Excel sheet or a CSV. All you have to do is read the CSV and just I think this one will not help you. Read the CSV and just use this and basically put the log. Now, there are more advanced things you can do with this. You could actually build a Streamlip application where people can that's something you could actually play around with. Build a Streamlip application where you could actually visualize the log like in terms of a UI where someone can search like log depth and they could actually see the log depth stack, like the depth of the log stack one after the other. Or you could actually, visualize it in Excel. You have the what's it called? Top depth, bottom depth. You have the far part. So here you just use the image URL to read this image. That means for each of the depth and the well name, you could actually see the image. I think Google Microsoft, I think, what's it called? Google Drive can do it. You can store it in Google Drive. Normally, you could do it or you can automate the process. You could write a code that could actually take all your files and store them inside your drive, you know. Then um get the file path, which is the view link for each of the files, and visualize it on Google Sheet. So what happens is a geologist sees that sheet, you share with the geologist, he sees the depth range and he sees the logs stacked under each other. Or they could actually just search the Excel sheet based on the depth top and the depth bottom they want, just to see, the logs within that depth. So it's just something simple I wanted you guys to do. So the main thing for me is basically making sure you're able to process to get it to this form where you have your top depth, your bottom depth, and also to the far part where the log is being stored. And that's just what I wanted you guys to do. So at first, because we had 4 classes, we can't do much. The second step would be learning how to play with database. How can I store this data in databases? Because that's where the futuristic processes, because you're going to be having more log data, collected from different documents. You need to store them somewhere, store them relative to their well name, their site, their file path, all stored in your machine or all stored in the cloud or wherever you want to store the information. So you need to keep storing that information somewhere. So that's where database comes in to help you. So the database keep helping you stack this data. And now, because the information is stored in the database, you could access the database anywhere, provided that the file itself are stored in the cloud. A cloud can be anything. Google Drive can serve as a cloud. It depends, but it depends. Google Drive can serve as a cloud. How much data can it collect? That depends on you. But when I mean a cloud, I'm talking about Azure, AWS, where you have, we call it file blob locations, where they could actually allow you to store image file. Those image file, a file path will be created for those image files. So what's a file blob? It's just like the way you store images in your machine inside a folder. You could actually create a file blob in Azure or AWS and store images there. An API will be generated for that location you've stored that file. And you could actually get file path for those files, and you can access it anywhere in the world, provided you have access to the internet and you have, the API key to access those images. So that's just basically cloud, like storing images in the cloud. That's what it's implement. And also too, you don't even have to access it there. You could actually store the file path, inside your Postgres database. You could access the file path of the location of the file blob from your Postgres database. This guy now breaking my thought process. Ross, can you mute yourself a little bit? We can hear you. So that's the whole idea behind the whole process. So your job as a geoscientist, especially, is just making sure that you make data available for whoever needs to interpret it, and that's what you'll be doing. So forget about the interpretation for now. I'm sure you must have learned that in school. You know what call logs are. We talked about the different type of data needed for reservoir characterization. If you don't have that video, the first class we did, tell Meridian to share that video with you. So we basically broke down the type of data we use and how they are being used. And for just this class, we're just talking about how we can process call logs. Now, like I said, the process is not as straightforward as this, because this one is simple, because here your task is to basically get the file, what's it called, image depth from the what's it called, from the file path. In some projects, the service providers is not even store the image depth in the file path. They might even store it in a PDF file or in a report. So your job is basically finding ways to get the images and the image, what's it called? The image depth and bottom depth from wherever it is being stored. So there's a lot of trick to it. So that's why programming is important. This one is a straightforward step where the information is being stored in the file path. So I'm going to share this with you. The file you have processed, you're just going to make sure you can actually visualize the log being stacked one after the other. But if you want to impress me and do it and send to me, and I'll put a challenge, and I'm going to give you 100,000 naira to whoever gets it. So the challenge is 2 things you could do for me. One, it's for 100,000, just to motivate you guys in case those people who are serious. One, let me come down here. Why am I visualizing too many logs? What do I need to see? One, you could one research on how to store the processed image in Google Drive and visualize using Google Sheets. Two, build a single interface using Streamlit to visualize um I said research to visualize core images, processed core images. Or images. So the way you visualize it shows how technical you are. So any of them, you could pick any one. This one is, you could actually, when I mean research on how to store the processed image, you process the image, so you have all the file paths already. So what I want you to do is basically find a way to actually automate the process whereby you could store the images inside a folder you've created on your Google Drive. Now, in your Google Drive, you access those images on your Google Sheet. So technically, your Google Sheet, you're going to have something like this. You're going to have like the image, in one line, the depth top, and depth bottom. So the image here would use the image URL. So I think something like this from your Google, your Google Drive. So that URL, to use it to actually fetch the image. So when then you share the sheet with me, what I'm going to see is I'm going to see a Google Sheet of all your core logs, the top depth and the bottom depth, so I can search through the sheet to see the images. So that's number one. Number two, if you have the tenacity, you can actually build a single interface using a Streamlit. Streamlit is a Python library that would help you build beautiful interfaces. You could actually use Streamlit to just research. There's ChatGPT, there's everything. Just the beauty of this is basically, how you present your work, how your output is being presented shows, how valuable you are in terms of delivery. So just presenting an output doesn't solve the problem. Presenting an output that is easy for, a non-technical person to actually see and understand what you're trying to do. They will just see the logs. Okay, this is what it means. Okay, this is what it means. They could just screw down, So that's what happened. So anyhow you want to present this output, this assignment is not for your certificate. This is just for 100,000 naira for those people who are interested. I can give the 100,000 in two places. So I can give, that means 200,000 if more than one person does it and do it very well and I'm impressed with it. So, and I think these are last class. So you have basically, 2 weeks from now to submit it to me. But I'm going to share this with you, so that you could just use this to visualize it. So you could practically search for, this is too much. We're searching for a lot of logs. So I will just search for so here we're searching from 39. So let's say to 3950. I think this will search the logs within that range. So now the minimum log we have here is 3931. So because he didn't see 3900, he went to 3931. Then the depth of that log, that's what he has here. Then what happened? He keeps searching. The next one is 3932 and 393. So let me stop at 3933 so that I don't have to 3933, so I don't have to see lots of logs. So it will just show you 2 logs which is this and this. 3933 to 3944 here because that's it. Okay. Let's see. Is that the ending one here? That's it. That's the log. That's the amount of log it's going to show you. So for me and you, I've given you what I want you to do. So just figure out a way to do it. So I think that's all I want to explain today so that we can actually call this class. There's a lot of things to learn and you can't learn it in the period of just 3 weeks. I don't think it's possible. We'll be wasting our time. So for now, just find a way to understand why we're doing what we're doing. The assignment I give, I'm impressed a couple of people did it. I'll look through it and basically assign scores to it and send it back to Goji. Then, and if you could actually attempt the assignment, that's good for me. So, but the goal is basically to just to open your mind to see what is possible out there, and that's it. So I'll take today to answer questions. So ask me as many questions as you want to ask me, because I'll be running off today so that I can rest and do other stuff. So questions, please.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, please.
Okay, so I wanted to ask because I was actually looking forward to we working on working with Postgres we installed like
Yeah. Your your oh, shit. Your network is bad. We can't hear you. Can anybody hear him?
No, I can't hear him. Joshua, please, if you're trying to speak with your headset or maybe earpiece, I think it's distracting because we can't hear you very well. It's breaking.
Hi, Batman.
It's still breaking. It's still echoing. But there's this breaking sound that is ringing into the call.
Hi, Batman.
It's perfect now. It's okay.
Okay, so I said I was actually looking forward to us doing something on a database. Like initially, I know when we started the first class we had, we installed them Postgres. So I was actually looking forward to it, and I know you've already stated it, and like you said, 3 weeks is too small for us to do a lot actually.
Joshua, I'm going to
But I
say,
want to ask.
okay, continue. Finish first. Yeah, finish. Sorry, man.
So I want to ask: will it be possible for us to be getting the guidelines at least 1 or 2 tips after the class, just like a follow-up?
Okay. So, Joshua, yeah, based on your question, this class was supposed to be for, I think, 1 or 2 months. But when we started, the reports we had was the fact that, a lot of you were not following. And it was difficult. So, it was difficult teaching I didn't scratch the surface. This is just me, basically just, running through the whole process, It's just, we didn't really do anything, But at least you have an idea on what is possible. That's just, so yeah, I was actually looking forward to actually show you how Postgres work, especially creating data models on Postgres, where you could store basically maybe petrophysical data, or you could store, sedimentology data, or you could store any type of data, and how those tables will be connected together, and also to how we could actually load data in those databases and how we can actually fetch those data in that database, how we can do that automatically. That means how we can automate that process. But just think of it like sometimes we spend hours just learning for loops. Are you getting me? So we're teaching we're teaching beginners of beginners. So it was really difficult to actually go past this phase. So anything we want to do now, it's going to be difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. Not like it's not difficult to learn, but doing it in class is difficult. It really takes maybe a couple of self-motivated people to actually ask questions, and I answer those questions. So if you have questions, no, don't hesitate to reach out to me, especially if you're on the self-learning journey. So I'll be very, 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 very available to give you projects to work on and basically review those projects and maybe speak to you once in a while just to see how far you're going with the project.
Okay, boss. But you spoke about switching out to you. So do we stick to the
No, 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 no. The
talk
class is
to
over
you.
now. The class is over now. So you could actually just, I think the best way to reach out to get the reply is basically just um work on something. Send me what you've worked on. I think most importantly, if you could send me what you've worked on maybe an email, what happens is I know how serious you are. Then we could actually, the point is, if I tell you to reach out to me, anybody could just write messages even while they're not serious. So that's basically a waste of my time. So I want to see that you're working on something, and the value here would be the fact that okay, you're working on something. I'm like, oh yeah, he's working on something. Okay, let me jump in and see what he's working on. Then I can schedule a call, or basically we could actually jump on a WhatsApp call or whatever suits you the best. But just work on something. That's the most important thing, because people will just ask you questions and you just realize you're explaining passionately and they're not even doing what they're asking. It's just for the sake of asking questions.
Okay, okay. Thanks a lot, sir.
You could
I
always use
really,
like that. Mm.
all right, sir. Thanks.
Or you work on something, drop me a WhatsApp message. In fact, don't make it too complicated. Work on something, drop me a WhatsApp message that you worked on something and you like me to see it. Or you want to send it to my email. That's fine. That's also fine too. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, someone there. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just a bit clarity about this task. So I was like, do you like this visualization now?
Yeah,
You made mention of Streamlit and the
yeah,
like. So
yeah.
I don't really get what the task is all about. Is it us to just be able to
Yeah,
go to
visualize.
that Streamlit,
No,
go to that Streamlit, type a depth, and the image should be able to come out? Is that the task? Just
it,
want to.
yeah, so the point is, if we have to think like geoscientists, how would geoscientists want core logs to be visualized? That's the first question you ask yourself. You don't just develop, let's say you're developing an app for an e-commerce company. You won't develop it because, you're the one using it. Because of the users. So how would geoscientists want to see core logs? Usually they want to see core logs stacked up, you know, based on their depth. So how do I write a simple Streamlit application that could actually help me visualize core logs? In Excel, it's quite easy, because obviously I could have my depth in a cell, then the image in another cell. So I could see the depth together with the image. So how do I replicate such kind of, you know, on Streamlit, or even something more better? That's where your creativity comes into play. But the problem with Excel is creating moving the data to the drive, connecting the Drive API. There's a lot of complications there. So don't think it's easy if you do your research. So, but if you can actually get the data stored, get your API from Google Cloud, it's pretty much easy. You could actually visualize, the images as much as you want. So, but for Streamlit, you have to just think, anyhow you could actually visualize it for a geoscientist to make it easy for geoscientists to actually go through the depth to see the logs. That's fine for me. So for me, I'll be like an end user. I'll be like, okay, which one suits me well? Which one is easier for me to actually look at? Is this clear, Summer?
All right. Any of the two will be fine, right?
Any of the two is fine, yeah. I'll even prefer you to do it via Excel, because most geoscientists don't like anything app disturbs them. They just want you to share an Excel sheet for
Mhm.
them so that they could just look at the logs. But I know why I said you should use Excel, because now it's going to be, I want you to actually learn how to configure, um, your drive, you know, API client, working with Google Cloud to get your API key, how you could actually use that information, to pull image from your drive, how you could actually write codes to push all your images from your machine to a drive folder, how to connect that drive to your Excel sheet. So there are lots of like pipelines you have to build, small pipelines that would make you understand how data engineering works. So I think that's a good Streamlit also too is a good tax too, because obviously For Streamlit, it's easier. Everything is local. So your creativity will be on how you could actually design the application so that it will look like easy for geoscientists to use. So anyone is good. Any of them would stress you, would basically bring out, at least if you do it, you research. That means you've learned something. That's just a thing.
All right, sir, that's fine. I think okay. I will look at which one is best for me because originally I'll be a little bit biased to Streamlit
Yeah.
because I've built a few
Yeah.
things about around Streamlit.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity to learn about the Excel sheet too.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone is asking question on the
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. Sorry.
So Joshua is asking the duration for the assignment you gave.
I think from 2 weeks from now. So just 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so I just want to confirm, is this an assignment for the class or like a project that you personally?
Yeah, just a personal project. I just want to, first of all, you guys, this is a beginner class, so I'm not expecting so much. All I want is at least you go out from this class knowing at least you could write a for loop. You're motivated to read more about Python. You know how you could actually apply, Python to solving problems. You know the kind of problems we have in the industry and why it's important for you to learn how to code. So that's the whole idea behind this. And yes, you're supposed to characterize it as a reservoir, but it's a massive process. It's not you're like it's not just you alone. For you as an entry level, the only thing you're going to do basically is process documents, extract data, build data models, and basically help geoscientists, assess those data. That's what you'll be doing. And it cuts across different types of data types. So for here, we're picking call logs as one of those data types to be using. But there are other types of data. We have core analysis, we have petrophysical log curves, we have different types of data come together. We have seismic, which would basically help us, understand the subsurface. So there are lots of things to work on. But I'm picking core logs here because it's an important data, an image data, just so that you could actually learn how to the basics, which is just, writing codes to extract simple, simple information from our far part. There are a lot of things to do when it comes to building applications or working around geoscience. So, but for now, just stick to these ones and see what happens. And if the money entices you, you could actually join the competition and see. Somebody has to win the money. So even if everybody submit, the worst of the best of the worst will get the money. So I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So the money is already, somebody has to get the money. Two people has to get the money, which is 100K to 200K. So the best of the worst has to get it. So I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So it's not like I'll say everybody has failed it. It's nothing like that. If everybody failed it, the one that passed small is the one to get it. So this is just me trying to motivate you to actually work on something. Even if you're not looking at the money, just work on it for learning. What are you doing with your time? You're young. So but for now, just I'm going to share this simple script with you. The data you've processed, use the data, just put the data part and see how the call logs look like. And basically see how you could actually search between the depth range so that you could actually visualize the logs. Simple, just on the Jupyter Notebook. But you can't send Jupyter Notebook to a geoscientist. They won't understand how to use it. So you have to always find a way to make it easier for them. One of them is basically, representing your answer in Excel. So that's what I'm asking, you guys to do. So if you can, or Streamlit an app to anyone that works for you. Any more question?
I have a question regarding the assignment.
Okay. This
So
one or
are we
this one or the one I just gave?
the one you just gave this
Okay.
today? So
I like
I
the
want
fact that
to
one is motivating people. I've never seen you guys ask questions like this before, ever. Today is a good day. Please continue,
so
Folashade.
you asked us to do two things here. Is it like we are going to do the two or you
No,
want us
just
to
pick one.
just do
Pick
one?
one. Pick one.
Yes, okay,
Pick one.
okay, thank you.
You learn a lot about, when we say GCP, so it's just Google Cloud. You learn a lot. And what's Google Cloud? It's just a suite that helps you, store data. BigQuery is a GCP, it's part of GCP. Google Drive, there are a lot of things that is part of the whole GCP suite. Just the way you say AWS, there are a lot of things that is a part of the AWS, So there are a lot of things that you can actually use, So I'm just trying to tell you the most basic ones, which is use your Google Drive to store your data, get the API keys for this data, access this data with an Excel sheet, you know, together with the depth information, and send it to me. That's all. So all I have to do is click on the Excel sheet. I'm seeing you're the one managing the data, on your drive. Nobody can access it because you have the API keys. So it's going to help you understand developing things. This might just be an interest for you to understand how the cloud really works, because you're going to research on how you could actually get API keys from, Google Client Console. You're going to walk around, at least play around, Google Cloud a little bit. So just look around a little bit. That might motivate you into something. Who knows? Any more questions?
Okay, so just to confirm what you said earlier, you said today is the last, class,
Yeah,
right?
except you have questions, because I don't see any other thing I want to show you now. It's going to take like, if we haven't even scratched the part of programming you want to learn, so it's more complicated. Will I start showing you the last class when we started doing shortil? Most of you were lost. We started writing code to push data from one folder to the other. We had lots of problems. People were not understanding. So I wouldn't want to go through that route. I'll keep it as simple as possible. If I want to start going through Postgres, developing data model, how many class do you think we're going to have to do that? So we just have to be realistic, with what we have to do. You have your data. I would have at least showed you. Maybe, okay, what I'm going to do in our next class, since everybody has processed the data, I'm just going to show you how to load that data into a single table, that we're going to create in database. So we're going to develop a schema. Inside that schema, we're just going to create a table in that schema, then load this data into that schema, then access it using a select query, just to show you how Postgres work. Usually, the process has to be automated because you're going to be loading multiple data on different locations. But we're going to do it manually so you can actually see it. How we can actually load from the Postgres interface. So these are things, you have to spend time learning, and that's you looking into data engineering, So it's really interesting if you really want to learn about it. So we're just going to do one class on that, and we're going to call it a day. Then every other thing it depends on you. You could reach out to me. The point is, it's the seriousness that counts. You could reach out, when you want me to do something. Just send me a message, tell me you're working on something, do a small 2-page PowerPoint, sent to me on WhatsApp. I look at it and I'm like, oh, this person is serious. Then we jump on the call. I see what you're working on. That's good for me. You're learning, I'm learning. The good thing is, if this becomes a career path for you and you start earning from it, I'll be happy to say, okay, yeah. I remember then when you were in this class, struggling to write your first line of code, but look at you now. It's a good thing. Anyhow you want to look, it's a win-win for both of us. So just do it, especially those of you who are just done with school and you're intending or trying to go for NYC. This is a good time for you to learn just as much as you can. You'll be shocked when you go to small servicing companies how important these skills are. Automating stuff, simple file processing, automating files, pushing files here, taking files here, creating a structure on how their files are being accessed, folder by folder, properly named, extracting data from files itself. All those simple automation, pushing files to cloud storage, creating simple database to actually hold and handle files. These are skills that, every company would want. Servicing companies will need that. Small companies might just, you do this one or two things. You just see how, they like, this guy, you're an asset to us. So nobody's calling you to come and explain, what happens when porosity and permeability. Nobody will ask you that kind of question. They want to see what you can do with their data, how you can actually make it easier for them to actually derive insights. So that's why I was keen on the coding part of things. So more questions?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. Do anybody still have a question? Okay, sir, so we have one more class to go. That's this
No,
Saturday,
This is
11th.
so yeah. So we'll just do the Postgres stuff so that we'll just call it create a single schema, create a table in the schema, upload the process data into that schema, and write a select query to access it. Just to show you how it works here.
All right, so that's fine. Thank you so much. And you said something
Okay,
about
sorry.
how we like money. Okay, does someone have a question?
About the
Yes, Samuel. So I was like, someone asked earlier that how do we turn this task out? How do we turn it in rather?
this
So
particular one.
and
Okay, so it
I
depends on the
think
one you do. So
yeah.
for the Streamlit, you have to I'll have to call you because let me see, how do you submit the Streamlit? Because okay, so you're going to send me your data then and the .py file for the Streamlit. So on the call, basically, I'm going to take your data, put it in my own folder, pass the file path to the Streamlit application just to see if it is working the way. So both of us will see it there. It's not magic. Although I won't tell you to use Docker containers to actually host the Streamlit. Don't know, I won't stress you. You just send me the data you used, that obviously data you have processed, and the .py file for the interface. Now for the Google Drive, immediately share the Excel sheet with me. Share and add my email. I'll just see what you've done. So anyone works.
Oh, okay. So we should reach out directly.
Yeah. Just reach
That's
out.
what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, sir, what about your email address?
I'll drop it. Don't worry. I'll drop it. If you've
Alright.
done, in fact, if you've done the assignment, you just have to put it on the group. You've done it. I'll send you a message privately.
All right.
Mm. Okay, guys. Let me let you. It's a work week, so you guys should not stress yourself. Just she'll share the Ugochi will share this code with you. Just understand it. Nothing else. It's just to see how the call logs are being visualized. That's all. So I wish you an amazing week then. Take care, guys.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, please assign attendance list has been going on the chat box. So if you have not written your attendance, please you can go ahead and do that because I'm seeing only 11 names and we are 16 on the call. All right, this is a quick reminder that uh our class is ending next week. This week, that's on 11th of October. That's this Saturday. So our class is ending, our mentorship program is going to end that day. So, but I'll be sharing more information because I'm going to communicate with Mafejiro to know if we are doing project, if we are doing, because the last Saturday they ended the whole mentorship program and they had some projects, presentations and all of that. So I'll be getting the information from her if we will also do the same thing. But if not, I will let you guys know. So I think that's all from my end. You can always reach out for questions or clarifications or anything. You can do that in the group. You can also reach out to me in my DM. Thank you guys, and you can have a lovely night.
Thank you, man. You too.
Bye. Thank you, Mark. Good night, everyone.